So today we are entering cyber court. So the Computer Misuse Act has been around since 1990, but it is often misunderstood and people often aren't aware of some fairly easy things which can actually be an offence under this. So we're going to take a look at some cases now and judge them. So recently there has been a spate of arrests from across the city for people who've been accused of cybercrime. Specifically, they're being charged under the Computer Misuse Act 1990, which is a law that is present here in the UK. The law itself makes provision for securing computer material against unauthorised access or modification and for connected purposes. In the advent of computing, there were many things which are now crimes, which initially there wasn't a law to be passed because the laws were made before computers were even existed, and certainly before they were widely used. So if we have a look closer at the Computer Misuse Act in the UK, it provides for these following offences under sections 1, 2 and 3. So section 1 is unauthorised access to computer material, for which you can have up to 2 years imprisonment, a fine or both. Section 2 is unauthorised access with intent to commit or facilitate commission of further offences, either under this act or other criminal law, up to 5 years imprisonment, a fine or both. Section 3 is unauthorised acts with intent to impair or recklessness as to impair in operation of a computer, which is up to 10 years imprisonment, a fine or both. And beneath Section 3, we also have Section 3ZA, unauthorised actions causing or creating risk of serious damage, up to life imprisonment, a fine or both. And Section 3A, making, supplying or obtaining articles for use in another CMA offence, up to 2 years imprisonment, a fine or both. So Section 1, 2 and 3 were in the original Act. Then these additions to Section 3 have been added where no longer does the actual damage or access have to take place, but if your actions create the risk of serious damage, that is a serious offence, up to life imprisonment. And also the making, supplying and obtaining of articles for use in another CMA offence. So providing a link on a website to a piece of malware to send, that would be classed as supplying. Actually creating one of these tools, even as a joke, for example, to kick somebody off a game so you can win, that would be making an article, or essentially a piece of software to do this. Or obtaining articles, simply clicking on that link that somebody has posted to a tool, for example, to set up a botnet, is an offence, a specific offence now. So if we tap to continue, we can hear the cases. So send in the first defendant. Defendant, you are standing here before me accused of committing a crime under the Computer Misuse Act 1990. How do you plead? Not guilty, my lord. Very well, tell me about the incident in question. My friend's laptop was left logged in while they were downstairs, so I used it to access his social media account. I read a few private messages and posted a funny message on there. I see. Did you have permission to do this? Well, obviously not, but it was my mate. I think they'd see the funny side of it, and it could be deleted anyway as soon as they noticed. No harm done, my lord. Why did you think this was okay to do? Just thought it was funny and it could get deleted as soon as they noticed. In your opinion, was there an actual victim? Well, my mate, but they do the same to me all the time. Loads of people do it. Just a bit of banter, innit? Okay, so let's move on to passing judgment. Very well, I have heard all I need to hear today to pass a judgment today. I judge you to be... So, guilty or not guilty? Well, even if their friends do it to all the time, that's not an excuse, and they have actually gained unauthorised access to computer material, which is Section 1, up to 2 years imprisonment, fine or both, so we must find them guilty. Guilty of a crime under the Computer Misuse Act 1990, specifically of Section 1, unauthorised access to computer material. Send in the next defendant. Defendant, you are standing here before me accused of committing a crime under the Computer Misuse Act 1990. How do you plead? Not guilty. Very well. Tell me about the incident in question. I got access to my teacher's computer by guessing their password. I changed the password and told them that I'd only give them the new one if they paid me £100. I see. Did you have permission to do this? No, but with a password that weak, it was practically bound to happen to the teacher. They were lucky it was just me telling them to give me £100. Why did you think this was okay to do? The teacher had been giving me a hard time, and I just wanted to get back at them, and I wanted some new clothes. In your opinion, was there an actual victim? The teacher makes thousands a year. £100 is nothing to them. They should have considered it a cheap lesson. Let's pass judgment. Very well. I have heard all I need to hear to pass a judgment today. I judge you to be... Well, we've got guilty or not guilty again. But what they have actually done, the blackmailing the teacher there, haven't they? So Section 2, unauthorised access with intent to commit or facilitate commission of further offences. Because remember, it doesn't have to be an offence under the CMA. It could be, but it could be an offence under any other law as well. So it's up to 5 years imprisonment, a fine or both. So they are indeed guilty of a crime under the Computer Misuse Act 1990, specifically of Section 2, unauthorised access with the intent to commit or facilitate commission of further offences. Send in the next defendant. Defendant, you are standing here before me accused of committing a crime under the Computer Misuse Act 1990. How do you plead? Not guilty, my lord. Very well. Tell me about the incident in question. I sent an email to a shop which contained malware. A computer virus. The malware was a type of ransomware which encrypted or locked important documents and spreadsheets on the shop computers so they could no longer use them. I see. Did you have permission to do this? No, it was just something I saw being done in the video I watched online and thought would be fun to have a go myself. Hee hee. Why did you think it was okay to do this? I was only practicing. I don't think it would do any real harm. In your opinion, was there an actual victim? Not really. The shop should have installed better antivirus software and stored backups of their data. Well, that's not an excuse, is it? So, pass judgment. Very well. I have heard all I need to hear to pass a judgment today. I judge you to be... Well, they've committed unauthorised acts with intent to impair or recklessness to impair an operation of a computer. Yes, the shop should have installed antivirus, but that is not an excuse to then send them a virus to kind of prove yourself right. So it's up to 10 years imprisonment, a fine or both. So they are guilty of a crime under the Computer Misuse Act 1990, specifically of Section 3, unauthorised acts with intent to impair or with recklessness as to impairing the operation of the computer. Send in the next defendant. Defendant, you are standing here before me accused of committing a crime under the Computer Misuse Act 1990. How do you plead? Not guilty, my lord. Very well. Tell me about the incident in question. I hired a botnet to boot off one of my mates offline whilst they were online gaming, but I hadn't even got around to using it. I see. Did you have permission to do this? Well, not from my mate, but it was available for free from this forum I go on sometimes. They post a link on the site and everything. Why did you think this was okay to do? Like I said, I didn't even use it. It was free, and I was just going to play a prank on my mate. Was just going to see what all the fuss was about. Not like I was actually going to attack an actual website, because even I know that's illegal. In your opinion, was there an actual victim? Nope. Didn't use it, just downloaded it. How can there be a victim? We're very well. I have heard all I need to hear to pass a judgment today. I judge you to be... Well, even though they've not used it, with the amendments to the Computer Misuse Act, the making, supplying or obtaining articles for use of another CMA offence, even if you don't do it, is actually... does actually make you guilty and up to 2 years imprisonment, a fine or both. So simply by obtaining the article, downloading the piece of software, regardless of the fact it's not used, it has actually committed an offence under Section 3A. So they are guilty. Guilty of the crime under the Computer Misuse Act 1990, specifically of Section 3, making, supplying or obtaining articles for use in another CMA offence. Send in the next defendant. Defendant, you are standing here before me accused of committing a crime under the Computer Misuse Act 1990. How do you plead? Not guilty, my lord. Very well. Tell me about the incident in question. I was driving along one day and the police stopped me and gave me a ticket for speeding. I thought that was really unfair, but they wouldn't change it.
So I sent thousands of emails to their police station. It caused a denial of service, which meant they couldn't use their computers. It also meant they were severely delayed to emergencies, though.
I see. Did you have permission to do this?
Ha! No, of course not. Silly question.
Who are you calling silly? Why did you think this was okay to do?
I was barely speeding, and the police thought it was okay to punish me. Therefore, I gave them a taste of their own medicine.
Ah, revenge. In your opinion, was there an actual victim?
Haha, yeah, all those people who couldn't report their crimes properly.
Well, that's very dangerous, isn't it? So let's pass judgment. Very well, I have heard all I need to hear to pass my judgment today. I judge you to be... It's guilty or not guilty, they think it's rather funny. They're not really showing any remorse. The sentence is like to go up. But actually, if we look at Section 3ZA, unauthorised actions causing or creating risk of serious damage, well, people not able to report crimes is serious. So up to life imprisonment, a fine or both. They are indeed guilty. Guilty of a crime under the Computer Misuse Act 1990, specifically of Section 3ZA, unauthorised acts causing or creating risk of serious damage. So we scored 5 out of 5 there. We made correct judgments. The offence, it was Section 1 for posting on someone else's social media. Section 2 for changing the password, demanding £100 for it. Section 3 for sending malware to a shop. Section 3A for hiring a botnet, even if you don't use it. And Section 3ZA for sending thousands of emails and crashing police computers, which then meant people couldn't report crimes. And that is it. That's our quick tour of the Computer Misuse Act. There are many things in there which people might be thinking, oops, I've done that in future. It is really important that you are aware of these sections of the Computer Misuse Act. So, as a quick recap, Section 1, unauthorised access to computer material, even if it's logged in, okay, is not an excuse. Up to 2 years imprisonment, a fine, or both. Section 2 is the unauthorised access with intent to commit or facilitate commission of further offences. That can be under the CMA or any other law, and that's up to 5 years imprisonment, a fine, or both. Section 3, unauthorised acts with intent to impair or with recklessness as to impair in the operation of a computer, up to 10 years imprisonment, a fine, or both. Section 3A, making, supplying or obtaining articles for use in another CMA offence. Even clicking a link, downloading it and not using it is not an excuse. You are still guilty under this, up to 2 years imprisonment, a fine, or both. And Section 3ZA, the most serious, where you can have up to life imprisonment, unauthorised acts causing or creating of serious risk of serious damage. Flooding an email box might seem funny, but when that stops people reporting crimes, it can very quickly become the most serious of offences and up to life imprisonment. So make sure you're careful, make sure you're aware of the Computer Misuse Act, and make sure you think twice before you do anything, even if you perceive there to be no victim or you think it's really funny. Okay, be careful, stay safe, and stay tuned for more cyber security and computing law videos.